One. Heyo, and welcome to the Boston Sports Brothers podcast, fully loaded show this evening. Gentlemen, how are ya?
Hey,
Doing
yo, see
well.
everybody
I could be doing
again.
better. I could be
Eh,
doing better.
We could be doing better, that's for
I'm
sure.
doing just fine.
So,
Oh, Bernie.
we're gonna get
already
to it
starting the gloating over there.
just in a minute. But
That's fine.
a quick show note here off the top. So yesterday we had the pleasure of Jerry Thornton joining us, where we really did a full Patriots off-season check-in, going back through free agency, the draft, all the different things that have gone on throughout the offseason. So that part of the episode is going to be at the very end. We're going to do our regular episode here with Around Town, oh yeah, yeah, oh, and the Pike, and maybe there's someone in the penalty box this week, who knows. But just so everybody knows, interview with Jerry Thornton, all things Patriots at the end of the episode, and otherwise we're going to get right to it. And last night, obviously, as Big E said, he could be doing better when it comes to our beloved Celtics. Big E, take us into what was a disappointing game one.
Yeah, I mean, disappointing is the word of the day. Thanks for using that word, Plotty, because I can't think of any other thing that was great about that game. You get, Porzingis, who, is pretty much a no-show in the first half, and then at halftime goes back to the locker room, doesn't come back, has an illness. Apparently today it's related to his respiratory illness that he had in March that he missed like 8 or 12 games for. So that's not bueno. That's not good.
No
Not good,
bueno.
all right?
There's
No bueno.
recent news that he's probable for tomorrow.
Okay,
Oh,
all right.
okay.
Yes.
I
Okay,
like
that's
that.
good. Hit him with the oxygen mask. Go in and get whatever that viral infection is
Antivirals.
out of his respiratory system. So we need him to be back. All right, so that's problem one. Problem two, bricking 45 threes. That's probably not a recipe for success. And listen, I think we all know the Celtics live and die by the three, but at a certain point, if you're dying by the three, maybe you shouldn't continue to go back to it. Maybe you should switch up your philosophy, the way you attack a little bit. Cat, for example, first half of the game, in foul trouble. They went at him. That was great. Where was that in the second half? I couldn't tell you. They went away from it. So there's stuff like that. I mean, through all the things that sucked, I still think that there were some things that were glimmers of hope. They lost by 3 in overtime. And if you told me that they were going to brick 45 threes in the game, I would have told you that we probably were going to lose more than 3 points. The defense, for the most part, was pretty sound. Drew Holiday coming back, he looked really good. He said he felt good. That was a positive. And the shooting can't be that bad for the rest of the series. Water will eventually find its level. So I think there are some positives that we can take out of it, even though it was mostly a disappointing night. Now, before I pass it over to any of you guys, I do think it's fair to pass it on over to Bernie to get his thoughts on the game from, the New York side. Bernie,
Take
you
your
want to tell
victory
us what your
lap.
thoughts
Take
were?
your victory lap. Go ahead. The floor is
Yeah,
yours.
I mean, I got my thinking cap with me. I don't know if I should put it on and
Throw it on. Throw it on.
All right, here we go.
We're all about
Oh
the
God.
props.
Sound of the stat.
Oh, bing bong.
There we go. Oh, there we go. It's in the frame. Yeah, no, I mean, it feels good to get the first win out of the way. To get a win in the playoffs in the second round, on the road out of the way is huge, especially for this team. You look at what happened last year, right, with the injuries. The Cavs are kind of going through it right now. Absolutely heartbreaking, frustrating, but we were rooting for this series. We were rooting for the Celtics, for the Knicks as well. It's great. You couldn't draw it up any better. And then, you go into game one, and I mean, realistically speaking, I think everybody in their right mind, maybe some Knicks fans between the ages of 20 and 25, myself not included, are delusional and think the Knicks could actually win this series. But, celebrating outside of the Garden like we just won the finals and it's, 1970, whatever. But, you go into game one in Boston and, there's really no expectation. But, you go in and I thought, this game was over, right? Like this game was pretty much determined. It was settled at halftime, 20 points. You guys were up by, I believe. And I'm really proud of how the group, really fought. And I thought, their adversity really towards the end was really what came through in the clutch, that run. I think it was like a 19-5 run at one point, that got them back into this game. Really just everybody contributing. And for a team, again, that has a very short bench like the Knicks, going up against a team like the Celtics is huge. To get that first win out of the way. Brunson, there's a reason why he's the most clutch player of the year. He did have some big shots. Now, they should have won it in regulation. We were talking about it a little
He
bit.
missed it.
We started recording. We're talking a little bit about it. I think Plotty was saying Red was kind of blowing it off the rim there. The the gods in TD Garden were trying to help out Brunson or help out the Celtics fans there because I don't know what happened. It went off the rim and he missed the shot. They needed that. But we go into overtime and I just thought it was executed perfectly. I thought the defense, subbing in Mitchell Robinson when they did. OG Anunoby played really well. He's been sort of the backbone for this team, both offensively and defensively. You guys talked about Cat. I actually thought I know Cat. He had a good game, but I didn't think this was his best game. I think because he had 14 points, so it was a good game for him overall. But
we've a lot of bench time for him.
Yeah, better performances for him. But
I thought Cat kind of sucked last night.
He was not good. He was visibly frustrated actually at one point. Like you could clearly see it. I have a couple of friends who are Knicks fans, and they texted me, "Cat is trying to make us lose." He was just not playing great, and I think that was in the second quarter. And like 24, they completely went away from it. And I think what happened was when he was off the floor, they had Mitchell Robinson in, and then you started playing the foul game, and then we built that lead. I think that's when we started building a 10-point lead was when that happened. And in the third quarter, when you're up 20 and you're not going after Cat and you don't have the ability to get him off the floor and get Mitchell Robinson back on to maybe do that again, you're shooting yourself in the damn foot. So it's like the coaching was awful, the playing was awful, just an all around awful night for the Celtics, and they deserve to lose completely. Honestly, the Knicks they came back, they fought, and I think the Celtics they played like the road team. It was kind of weird. They were tight. And that they are better on the road this year. That's a like flat out true statement. But they need to be better at home, and that was really disappointing last night.
Well, I'll say like two more things on that. Just going off of what you said, J-Matt. The Knicks now are 4-0 on the road in the playoffs. We took both games in the Detroit series on the road, and now we won this game or 3 games on the road in the Detroit series, and then this game. So we're 4-0 now on the road. But the Knicks in the regular season did not beat one of the top 3 teams, being you guys, the Cavs, and the Thunder. So again, to get that first win out of the way on the road to start off the series. Again, I'm being realistic here. I don't think we're going to win this series, but I said to my friends before the game started last night, if we can just take 2 games, maybe, like I think that could be an accomplishment for them. And I know that's not the mindset any New York fan or any sports fan should have. I just don't feel like we match up well against you guys. But if we play like we did last night, I think we're in for a good series. I think it'll be
the bench. It's the bench. Like the bench for the Knicks is going to be their Achilles heel at the end of the day for this series. And I think can they be better next year if they actually upgrade that part of their roster? Yeah, I think their starting 5 is really good. No one can
and that's where losing a guy like DiVincenzo, right? That's where losing him kind of hurt us. In the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. Obviously, we lose Hartenstein and we got to trade for a big, but you trade away Randall, you trade away DiVincenzo, Hartenstein doesn't come back, you're losing some of your depth. So yes, we get a huge addition in Cat, but if he's not stepping up like he didn't last night, then you're relying heavily on guys like Jalen Brunson, who he's phenomenal. He's tremendous. So there's a reason why he's clutch player of the year. I know he didn't hit that shot.
Reggie Miller let us know how clutch he was.
Oh my God.
Reggie,
shut up! Approaching Doris territory.
With that polka dot fucking tie.
You guys really touched on it perfectly. This is something that we've seen kind of all season with the Celtics. They get to these leads and then I don't know what it is. They take their foot off the gas and they stop playing the type of ball that got them that lead, and they just start relying on the 3 ball. And it reminded me of the game when they had to tie for that 3-point lead and they were trying to break it, and they just kept taking 3 after 3 after 3 after 3 after 3, and it got to the point where it was just like they weren't playing basketball. And that's honestly what I felt like I was watching last night. And that's why, Bernie, I was busting your balls earlier where I said we think it's going to be a clean sweep, because it's like the game just it felt very forced for them last night. And it's going to come back. I've always said these game ones are always like a boxing match. You're always kind of trying to feel out your opponent a little bit, seeing what you're going to get. Unfortunately, it didn't go our way. We didn't keep the lead like we normally do. We once again gave up a 20-point lead. But aside from that, you guys kind of nailed everything. That's just the one thing that worries me is we keep giving up these leads, and we can't do that in the playoffs. I had said to you, Gabe, I was like, we need to go for the jugular right now. And then the Knicks went on a 19-5 run.
They did not keep it rolling, that's for sure.
No.
I tried.
I know you were trying. Yeah, it was a very disappointing loss. There was a few things I noted. When Kat and Mitchell were both on the floor at the same time, it really clogged up the middle, and I think that also had a bit of a factor in the Celtics launching all those threes. I also think JT was a no-show. I mean, he had maybe a decent stat line. He was rebounding a lot, but in that second half, he was really nowhere to be seen. I think he ended the night with -5 on the floor, which is really unusual for him. He's usually up there in the plus minus. Um, I think like Bernie said, the Knicks got Mikal Bridges and OG and Anunoby for a reason, and that's to cover our two superstars, Tatum and Brown. And they did a good job. I mean, kudos to the Knicks last night. I mean, we can complain all we want about the Celtics, but I think the Knicks deserve some flowers as well. They played us tough, and we missed a lot of threes, but the Knicks also shot like 50% from the free throw line. So that's a big difference in the score as well. Which it was disappointing. You got to have a memory of a goldfish, short-term memory, and kind of just move on to game two and let it ride. Like it's going to be a crazy series.
Yeah, we're on to game two tomorrow night, and as Gabe mentioned, Tatum and Brown are combined 14 for 43 from the floor, which that's not going to happen many times in the game. And they were 5 of 25 from downtown. So when your two superstars play like shit and you only lose by 3, you got to think that they're going to be able to come back. As we noted, Porzingis now probable for tomorrow, which we need him. As we said at the beginning of the playoffs, he's going to be a player that the Celtics are going to need to go all the way. Agree with everything that everybody said. The Knicks kind of stole one there. They really should have won in regulation. And they're going to be a pesky team. They're talented. They have high-end talent. I think this is a series that goes 6, 7 games potentially. And, you just got to hope that the Celtics are able to come out on the right side of it. But any other NBA thoughts, fellas? We got other playoff games going on.
Yes.
Big East that set us up for some of the around the league discussion.
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing that I want to talk about around the NBA is number 1 and number 2 seeds getting absolutely, I don't want to say walloped because that's not fair because they all lost close games, but losing close game ones that those teams are all heavily favored in. So I just want to throw it out to you guys to see what your thoughts are on that. I was a little surprised with the OKC result last night as well. Thinking that the Thunder were going to, I wouldn't say take care of the Nuggets easily, but I thought it was going to be quite a different result. So just want to kind of throw it around to you guys to see what your thoughts are specifically.
As far as OKC and Denver, we got to realize that Denver is a championship caliber team. So they've been there before. OKC, they are a young, talented team, but they haven't been in that position. I'm not really surprised that Denver won, just because of that experience alone. That experience alone kind of puts them in another place. I think they were able to take it up a notch. And then Jokic is he's a beast. I mean, the guy's a walking triple-double. It's insane.
What about Russ? Got to give Russ his flowers. He's playing against his old team, OKC. They got rid of him, so he's got playing with a little chip on his shoulder for sure.
I also really enjoyed the Jokic Chet Holmgren matchup. They were fighting up and down the court, and Holmgren is just like skinny ass, tall mother effer, and Jokic is this wide truck of a man, and they're just like going at it. I thought that was a really cool battle to watch, especially because Chet's a little bit younger, and so it was a little bit surprising to see Denver kind of take that game one, but it was also surprising to see the Knicks take game one. So I don't know. I think both these series are gonna go pretty far.
You also have the Pacers that took game one as well against Cleveland.
Yeah, Pacers as well, yeah.
And Cleveland might be in trouble from an injury standpoint. Darius Garland sounds like his toe is in not good shape. Mobley and Hunter are dealing with things. I know they're playing again tonight. I don't know what their status is, but
they've all been ruled out. All 3 of them been ruled out.
Oh, wow. That's brutal.
Indiana has a real chance to go up 2-0 and go back to Indiana with a 2-0 lead after tonight, which would be something.
They made it to the conference finals last year. They've been there, so they can do it.
LeBron could do one of the funniest things in the offseason to go back to Cleveland. It would actually be so funny.
Would. They'll take Bronny with him too.
it's just very much like kind of what I was alluding to earlier with the Knicks, where, you have the team, but, you just can't stay healthy on the floor. And the Knicks last year, I think we can all agree, they should have beaten the Pacers in that series. They went to game 7. They lost at home in New York, but they just had what, like 2 healthy players, including Brunson, and then he got hurt in the final minute or so of that game. And I feel for Cleveland because they're having unbelievable year, but these injuries coming at the wrong time for them it's just unfortunate. And like you said, Indiana now has the opportunity to go up 2-0, and then send the series back to Indiana is huge for them. So yeah, upsets in all 3 series. I thought Aaron Gordon, he's been unbelievable,
Yeah.
especially in the clutch for Denver. He hit that 3 at the end last night to beat OKC. He also had a buzzer beating alley oop or dunk in the first round to steal a game
Clutch.
away from the Clippers. Not the most clutch player of the year, but I thought that was cool. And then for the Knicks also, just clutch at the end there from Bridges. I think the most impressive 8-point performance. I defensively stole the ball away from Brown, didn't let him get a shot up, but 8 points, and he shot 2 of 5 from 3 and 3 of 13 from the field. So I think all 3 of these teams definitely stole a game in game 1.
Bernie, something to think about though, and to be cautious of is the amount of minutes that your starters were playing last night. And
Yeah,
if this series does go to 7 games, you have to think about the fatigue factor. Well, Bridges played
absolutely.
51 minutes. OG played 46. So
It's insane.
definitely something to keep in the back of your mind there.
Yeah, you kind of have to look at it from both perspectives, right? Like I've been very hard on Tibbs all year about, sort of just being the minutes police and like why, give it a break, give it a rest. Like let's get the bench in there, get guys like Deuce McBride or Campaign or Achua or Mitch who comes off the bench in there. But in Tibbs' defense, you don't really have a very deep bench. So you kind of have to play those starters, 40 plus minutes 45 plus minutes every game. But I absolutely agree with your point there. They're going to be fatigued. And that's why I think if this is a long series, it's going to end up hurting them. We need a deeper bench. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, well, and last series going on is Golden State and Minnesota, who start up tonight. Another great matchup. The NBA really has a fantastic sort of, no matter really who moves on in these games, the talent going into the next rounds and into the finals eventually are fantastic teams to be looking at here. So we'll keep up with the NBA playoffs. We'll check in on everything next week in terms of updates. We'll certainly have series that will have developed a bit further here. Now we're going to shift our attention to the local 9 here and the Red Sox,
I'm taking
who,
the hat off. All right. I'm not going to wear it all episode. I'm just
all
saying
right,
it's
all
coming
right.
off.
It was a rightfully
Just for that
worn,
segment. Just for that segment.
rightfully worn. Well,
Hey, we were pretty cordial. So
yeah.
that
We
was
did.
good.
We
I appreciate it.
kept it PG. I don't even know if we even swore at all
It's only
at
game
each
1.
other there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe even G. That might have been general.
General. All right. Well, the guy Yukaku General Samuel Krasner
Speaking
for
of which,
the Red Sox report. Kraz, take it away. This team bugs the shit out of me.
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, sound like a broken record again and say that they're still trying to figure it out, but they are, still trying to figure it out. I kind of want to open this up and make it more of a discussion. They did drop their last 3 series. They're 500 right now. I believe the tarp's off the field, and they should be starting at 7:15.
Already down
But
1-0.
all right, well, there you go, Mr. Positivity. Perfect, love it. There you go.
It's like pouring outside. How are they playing?
So
It's like
I know.
actually pouring out.
They're trying to squeeze it in.
No,
It's
just
stupid.
just some things that I do want to touch on. Like our rotation is one of the top 10 best in baseball. We do have the 6th best rotation in the league. Um, Bullpen is really what's been costing this team. Whitlock and Slayton, to be specific, both of them have given up 2 and 3 earned runs in the last couple of games where we just kind of fucked up and gave away games. But if you look at their stat sheet, they haven't given up. They didn't give up a run in April. And they barely gave up. They didn't give up much in March either. So, excuse me. I don't know if it's just a blip on the radar, and they're still trying to figure out who they are as a team. But that's the biggest thing for me. The other thing I also want to talk to you guys about is Tristan Casas and his injury. Um, doesn't look good there. He's definitely obviously not coming back, but um, really want to get your opinions, and then just Don is Gabe and I talked about it is super swing happy. Every single time I see that kid up to the plate, it looks like he's swinging for a fastball, even if they're throwing him a slider away. So, just wanted to open up to you guys and start talking Sox.
Anyone jump in here? I mean, I got thoughts,
Well,
but go ahead,
Sam,
Keith.
I mean, yeah, extremely frustrating watches against the Minnesota Twins. Like they've got the lead, Whitlock and Slayton just completely blow it, like you said. I understand they can't be perfect all the time, but to do it two nights in a row is just extremely infuriating. On the Costas front, that was just a terrible, terrible thing to see. You never want to see anyone go down with a season-ending injury. Costas has had a lot of knee issues in the past as well, so hopefully, this isn't going to take him out for too long of a extended period of time past this season. What do you think the Red Sox plan is for first base now? Like it seems like they are kind of just content with kind of filling that role
So
with whoever.
they have Abraham Toro right now playing. I guess he was doing really well up in AAA up in Worcester. But again, I mean that's you're looking at a guy that was supposed to be your 4 or 5 hitter. Um, that's your power bat. You're looking at 20 to 30 home runs. You're looking at 80 to 100 RBIs, and you're not going to replace that with someone in the minors. It's very rare for that to happen. So really what they need to do, and Cora keeps downplaying it, and I really hate the fact that he's downplaying it, but they need to move Devers from the other side, and they need to put him at first base. Plain and simple, end of story.
There's
If
reports
if
that
the
they won't even ask him to do it.
because he's gotten settled into a routine, and it's just like it's just if this team wants to win, they need to do that so they can have the flexibility to actually bring up a legitimate bat in Roman Anthony and put him in the outfield and make Cedon your utility player. When you do that, now you're really utilizing this team as it's supposed to be. When you have Abraham Toro, and I mean these guys, don't get me wrong, they're great players, but uh, what's his name? Romy Gonzalez and
Mm.
Abraham Toro. I mean, they're playing with I think Gonzalez won us a game, but it's just they can't be your number 5 hitter. You need to have an actual legitimate guy, especially when you were expecting that at first base. So I really think the main move here is to move Devers over to first, and then um, figure out the DH role. Even Bregman. I mean, fuck, why not? I mean, Bregman came up as a second baseman, then moved to third. Why? I know
He's
we
too good
signed him
at
to play
third.
third.
I don't know.
I
He's too
I
good.
I
You
I
can't do
understand.
that.
I understand, but at this point, if this is what you're given, you got to play with what you're given. And if you slide him over to third, I mean, you slide him over to first, and you put Devers back at DH. Now you open up the room for someone else like Wiley Abreu to play DH, Roman Anthony to come up, play into the outfield, and you get a little bit more athletic. Yeah, it's not the most ideal move. Yeah, he's obviously clearly a better defensive third baseman, but at the same time, you're getting your 5 hole back.
Yeah, but I think if you're also trying to put the best product on the team, also, Devers, you're getting paid a shit ton of money. Go to first base and suck it up for the year. You want to know what? You don't want to be a DH, you want to play in the field? I solved the problem. Go to first base. There you
Well,
go. And then you keep Bregman at third, who is a better third baseman than Devers is. Holy, oh my God. Like, oh, wow. That's an easy way to solve the issue. And you want to know what? Devers is being a little bitch here about his like preference of being at third. And you want to know what? Just go play on first base, dude. It's not that difficult and probably a lot easier for you as a defender. So just try it.
I
If
think
it
that
doesn't work, then I'll eat my words and say, all right, dude, like you were right. You should have been at third, but be at least willing to try.
I think that's the part that's frustrating. And no matter whoever ends up in what position, the fact is that the Red Sox aren't fielding the best possible team night in and night out with the players that they have both here on the big league level and the players that we've heard about in the minor leagues. I mean, you have Mayer and you have Anthony that are in the minors that are mashing the ball and should be up here with this team given the injury to Casas and replacing that power in the lineup. And it's up to Cora to figure out how you go and field that
And
team.
Cora, don't give me this bullshit that you don't want to fuck up their transition of them coming up and them switching positions because guess what? A lot of fucking players do it.
Cora
Alex
Cora
Bregman did it.
is Cora has had a really poor season overall, I think. And he doesn't have
Mets
anywhere
and
to run
Mets.
and hide right now in terms of pointing at the front office or in any sort of place to be able to sort of be like, well, we don't have the roster or we don't have this. It's
They
like
do have the roster. They need to
they
bring
have
these kids
more than
up, and you
enough.
know what?
And
If they need to put Roman Anthony at first base, put fucking Roman Anthony at first
for real.
base.
I
I
mean,
mean, or
I've
four.
seen I've seen our boy Von Grissom taking
I was,
runners
I
in
was just
first
about to
base.
say that's who's going to be coming up next is Von Grissom because now he's taking fucking
Sam,
no,
who's the hitting
no.
coach?
What the fuck was his name? They completely
That
revamped
fucking
it.
guy, man. I was just looking up the stats, dude. The Sox
Uh,
have, I think the Sox are the second most strikeouts in the league. Like, dude, like get the players to like work a count, not get these strikeouts. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if this is just swinging for the fences, if they're not trying to play small ball. Like, I have no idea what it is, but the strikeouts have got to go. That's a huge issue. If they don't fix that, I mean, they're not going to go anywhere. And also, I think the late inning scoring has been a big issue, is from what I'm hearing too. I'm watching the Sox game and Dave O'Brien saying that they're getting all these runs early in the game and then they're not building off these leads, and then that's causing the bullpen to blow it because it's like a 2-run game at some point, and this team needs like 6-7 runs to get a win here. So
Eat,
um
eat
I
fast
don't
and
know how
drown the
long they
Hawks.
can keep feeling themselves out, Sam, like you keep saying, because it's already May. Like, we're getting to the point where you got to start figuring out
Start
who you
turning
are.
it
And
on.
if you don't do it now, like, they can't blame the weather. They really can't. It's been absolutely gorgeous here the last couple of weeks. That's like a huge cop out now. So I don't know what it is, but they got to figure it out. They really do.
The
I
weather
if
has been fantastic.
I can't stand seeing David Hamilton at shortstop too. It's like just call up Mayer to call up Mayer.
Like,
That's his
yeah,
position. Like he's a great fielder. He's having a great season down in AAA. And then it's like same with Cedon Rafael. I know they extended him, but that doesn't mean you have to freaking play him all the time. Like I think if you kind of put him in more of a utility role, like Sam said, you can kind of shift Duran to center field and get Roman Anthony up here too. And it's just like you all said it beautifully. It's just they're not fielding the best team that they can, and it's extremely frustrating. I think it will change as the season goes along, or I hope it will, but it's much to be determined.
I hear that the Woo Sox product is actually really good right now. Might even
Yeah,
be
I
a better
bet.
product than the Red Sox,
I
to be
wonder
quite
why.
honest. Like, yeah, if start making some moves, because they need to start seeing it on the big field.
Gonna
Well, I
need to
mean,
see it.
thankfully, the only silver lining on this is, they still are only 2 games behind the Yankees, and again, they're running on fumes. Max Fried's been pretty outstanding this year, which I didn't think he was going to be. We'll see how long that goes.
The
But again,
bullpen is not good for the Yankees either. Our buddy Cookie, they just DFA'd him today.
well,
Sad.
I
It's a
think he
sad
was a
day.
starter, but
He
Sad
was the
day.
starter coming out of the bullpen. They were giving him starts because Luis
a
Gil
long
was injured.
reliever.
But yeah, long reliever. Heel's been injured. Clark Schmidt just came back from an injury, and Marcus Stroman, that bum, is still injured. So we were using him as
Hey,
the fifth starter.
that was my buddy's roommate in college.
We're, we're in
Oh,
the
I'm
We're in
sorry
the
for your buddy.
dregs. We're in the dregs of baseball, sort of like it's not it's not the primary sport that everybody's focusing on quite yet with the playoffs going on.
It will, believe me.
It will. It'll come forefront, and I do have faith in the Sox that they can get the ball rolling. But
We're
they
about a
can't
quarter
they
of the way
can't keep
here
waiting
through the
around
season.
though. They gotta. It's time to start making moves. It's time for Cora to start pressing the buttons. I'm sick of the excuses. I'm sick of this and that. Fucking do what you gotta do and get this team rolling. That's really what it comes
Stack
down to.
up. Sack
Exactly.
up.
So, lots of games up here for the Sox. Great conversation, fellas. As our friends Felger and Matt say, sometimes the fellowship of the miserable when it comes to the Red Sox is
Oh, they just suck.
yeah. But
Should
no,
we
it's
should
not
we
suck.
They
consider
suck and they blow.
should we continue the misery with the Bruins here?
Yeah,
I'm
let's
sorry,
do
I'm
it.
sorry.
Let's just do it.
Misery
This
train
really
rolls
isn't.
on.
This certainly is not
Pork
one of
into
our
the ping
most
pong balls.
positive, not our most positive episode tonight. It really, I mean, but hey, we got to do it. We got to slog through the shit sometimes, don't we, Gabe?
That's right. And shit there is. The last night was the NHL draft lottery. It was the first time it was ever
Ooh.
televised. I actually
Ooh.
did tune in a little bit. I know the Celtics are on, but I wanted to see what it was like, and it was okay.
Ping pong
kind
balls
of
flying.
it was kind of confusing. There was a lot of people on stage. It just like I don't know. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but it was kind of cool. They had like the live odds of who could get like the number one pick or certain things like that. So that was kind of cool. But the Bruins, they get porked. They were in the fifth position. They were in the position to get the fifth pick. They end up getting number 7. Unfortunately, the Islanders moved up to number 1, and Utah jumped up to number 4. So those big jumps kind of pushed the Bruins back, unfortunately. this draft it's kind of like a 1A, 1B draft. You have a pretty solid defenseman up top and a really nice center, Michael Misa, up there as well. And then it's just like kind of a slog of centermen and forwards. And number 7 is a beautiful place for the Bruins to totally fuck that pick up. So I don't know. I'm trying to stay optimistic about it. I'm like, I think the Bruins will stay there and keep that pick, but there's certainly opportunity for them to trade the pick for maybe some more NHL caliber players. There's opportunity to them if they like maybe Anton Frondel. They could move up potentially in the draft to get him. But I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on what you think the Bruins should do now that they know they have the number 7 pick.
Well, Gabe, I remember we spoke and we were just texting back and forth, and I was just kind of asking you about, the draft and all that stuff and what the Bruins actually had and, what the team actually needed and do you think now they're in that position to actually make that pull where they can actually pull the trigger to be able to jump from 7 to 2?
I think
Whereas
they are.
opposed to being at 4, it was a little bit kind of more locked.
Yeah. I think they totally. I mean, they build up a lot of draft capital this past trade deadline, getting rid of a lot of veterans on the team. So they certainly could trade, another pick in the future or something like that. Maybe throw a player in as well to move up, if they really believe in somebody. That doesn't sound very Bruins-esque to me. I really just think they're going to hold and draft at that
Yeah.
position and
You
just
know, it
kind of.
sounds Bruins-esque to just have Don Sweeney just pick a old lumbering defenseman that doesn't move and he'll probably stay in the AHL. I don't know. Like it's a double-edged sword because I think they need to take the best available player at 7. I don't think they're going to move, but I don't want Don Sweeney to do it. Or if he does, if he's going to be the person making the pick, I want him to trade it like you guys are talking about. Like trade it for an established person, but then you're not building up your AHL
Yeah.
system, which kind of sucks. So it's like it's truly a double-edged sword, and that's why I wanted changes and I wanted Sweeney out because I just think they're going in the same fucking direction, and they just need to make changes. And it's like you can't be like, oh, we were the President's Cup team 3 years ago, and like we had a bad draft 10 years ago. Like no one freaking cares about 3 and 10 years ago. Like it's just this team is not. I have not high expectations for next year or for the draft. I'm sorry. It's just until I see some changes from the actual top down. Yeah,
Uh, Speaking
that's
of
it.
top down, I have two questions here, and then we should talk about the team that did end up getting the number 1 pick and some any other around the league news here. But
Bernie.
for the Bruins, when is the draft, the NHL draft, and
End of
what is the
June.
deal with the head coaching situation in the search? Because I think that person needs to be very much a part of that process, a la Mike Vrabel here in the
Yes,
Patriots sort of way. So
great
what
point.
is the
Gabe,
latest and greatest with
Yeah.
that?
Gabe, what have you heard?
So there actually was some head coach news coming out today. I think Don Sweeney came out saying that the coaching candidate that they are looking at is still in the playoffs right now. So they're waiting for the teams to kind of for the playoffs to play out. Some names that people are throwing around is Mark Savard, ex-Bruin. I believe he's on Toronto's staff right now. And then there's another guy on Dallas as well. Misha, I don't know his last name. I don't have it pulled up right now, but his first name's Misha. He also has a pretty nice resume as a assistant coach. So
Yeah,
um,
he's an
it, it
interesting dude for a lot of reasons. A couple things that I've heard about him was he was with the Knights when they initially started as a franchise with their player development from 16 to
Oh,
19, and then he sat on
hate that.
Butch's staff when they won the cup, a few years ago. Since then, he has moved on to Dallas, and Dallas has been doing really, really well. He was the only coach on Team Canada for the Four Nations who was not a head coach at another roster. And who was the GM of Team Canada? No other than Don Sweeney. So I think that the
yeah,
connections there for this guy are way too strong to ignore. And he's probably, in my mind, the likely candidate. And you want to, I don't think it's bad that he's got ties to Sweeney and he's, someone who's a little bit outside the organization. I think also the fact that he's had some relationships with people that were part of the organization with Cassidy and some other folks
yeah.
is not a bad thing either.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you nailed it, Eric, for sure. One thing I just putting the coaching thing aside for now, one thing I wanted to bring up for Bernie is I don't know if you heard about the conspiracy theory about this Islanders getting the number one pick. Apparently, the NHL All-Star game was supposed to be at UBS Arena where the Islanders play, and I
Yeah.
think it got changed due to how successful the Four Nations was. And now people are like, oh, maybe that's payback for taking away the All-Star game at UBS Arena. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just
Yeah.
coincidence, but it's kind of a fun thing to play with.
No, for sure. I did see that. First of all, very frustrating. I mean, obviously, I understand with how successful the Four Nations were, and I was a huge fan of the Four Nations. Obviously, heartbreaking the way it ended for us Americans, But I understand with the success of the league and it being at an all-time high right now with the Four Nations. They're looking for more of an international location as opposed to UBS Arena. But it is frustrating being a Long Islander, having, the opportunity to be 10, 15 minutes down the road from, the best players in the game. It's a little frustrating, but yeah, I don't think those two things have anything to do with each other. I mean, we watched the draft lottery. I know it was also very confusing for me as well, Gabe. I don't really know what the hell was going on, but I don't know how you could have like I don't even know where I'm going with this. I don't know how you could have, I guess, like staged that,
I don't think you can,
So
and not that it's the same, but Adam Silver got asked this question by Part of My Take actually, and he's like, "Listen, when they do the lottery balls, there's a representative from every team in there. There's league
right.
officials in there. There's referee. Like, there's plenty of people in there that knew if something was getting fucked up, there would be something said. Like, no
Someone
other
to
team
speak up.
wants to get fucked over the other. So, congrats to the Islanders. They get the number one pick with a 3.5% chance. Unbelievable.
Unfortunately,
Crazy.
next year's draft is where there is a number one consensus pick in Gavin McKenna. So that is probably the year that you want the number one pick, but I'm sure you take either Michael Misa or Schaefer up at the top there.
I was going to actually chime in on that if I can. The last time the Islanders had the first overall pick was 2009 when they took John Tavares, and that was the same draft class when there was, sort of a 1A, 1B, 1C, if you will, with Hedman and Matt Duchene as well. And now you see the same situation as well. There's really three guys. Schaefer is the one I like the most, and then Michael Misa as well. But a lot of Islander fans seem to think that they could potentially go after James Hagens from Boston College. Actually, he's a Long Islander. He's from Hauppauge, Long Island, and he grew up a diehard New York Islanders fan. And apparently, he would be. You probably know this better than me, but he's supposed to be a top five pick. So some people think they could go with him, just being that he's from Long Island and that he grew up an Islanders fan. But I think you got to go with the best player on the board. I think
Do
that would have
they
to be
Great
Schaefer.
do they
job.
trade back maybe? Do they
Yeah.
trade
Yeah.
back and get an asset and get him?
Use the
Like
capital.
that's not ridiculous to think about.
It's not. I think they need a GM first. They did fire Lou Lamoriello, and currently they don't have anyone drafting this pick. So I think once we get that settled, then we can maybe open up the conversation for that. But I think it's interesting now that the 2 years that the Islanders have had the consensus first overall pick, or the first overall pick, there hasn't really been a consensus number one. Whereas you look at last year with Celebrini and 2 years ago with Bedard. So it's interesting to see who they'll go with. And then the other thing is New York related news. The Rangers did hire Mike Sullivan. I know you guys were talking coaching carousel a little bit. So that's just sort of the news. They parted ways with him in Pittsburgh. And the Rangers are bringing back Mike Sullivan. But it'll be interesting to see what both of these teams do. I think both of them have a lot of work to do this offseason. And Potty, you were asking about when the NHL draft is. It's June 27th and the 28th. It's going to be in Los Angeles.
Very nice. Excellent. So good stuff
I,
there. Draft
yeah.
is always entertaining, as we know. Gabe, talk to us a little bit about what was just NHL playoffs. We're here into the second round with the Toronto Florida series that kicked off last night, and then two unbelievable game sevens over the weekend. Some of the best game seven hockey I think we've ever seen. Gabe, break it down, and then
Yeah.
anybody jump in with your quick thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to correct myself. It's Misha Donskov who the Bruins potentially will be signing as head
Fellow
coach.
comrade.
Yeah, but no, Plotty, you said it. The NHL playoffs have been pretty fantastic. There were a couple game sevens over the weekend. One being at the Avalanche taking on Dallas. That was an absolutely incredible series that could have certainly been either one of those teams could have gone, I think, to the finals, and it's just crazy that they ended up playing each other in the first round. The Avs blew a 2-0 lead in the third. Former Avalanche Mikko Rantanen has a hat trick to send his old club packing and packing the golf clubs. So Dallas Stars move on there, and then the St. Louis Blues fall to the Winnipeg Jets in Game 7 in very dramatic fashion.
Poor Monty.
Monty, yeah, it kind of like looked like a Bruins game to me in a sense when he was here, because they love to let in those late goals in Boston as well when he was here. So that game goes well, Winnipeg scores with like 3 seconds left in the third period to tie it up. Game goes double OT and Winnipeg scores to move on there. So we have our second round matchups. We've got the Oilers going against the Golden Knights, which is a great matchup. Dallas versus Winnipeg. Then we got Maple Leafs versus the Panthers and Capitals versus Hurricanes. So all really good matchups. The Florida Panthers did play last night against the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs defeated the Panthers 5-4. And we, as Bruins fans, we need the Panthers to move on in that series if we want that second round pick to turn into a first round pick. So
can they both lose? Because I hate both those teams.
I know it's really hard to root for any one of those teams, but when there's a first round draft pick on the team, I'm full rat mode right now. So
let's go. Go
Speaking
Cats,
of rat
baby.
mode, little Sammy Bennett taking a little elbow shot to the
To Marner.
the head of Stolars of
Yeah.
the goalie of Toronto last night. Oh yeah.
Chuck went after Marner at the end of the game too, and Marner kind of sidestepped it, and the ref stepped in before he got anything more going. So
Future Bruin there, future Bruin Mitch Marner there.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
And Sam Bennett's infamous in Boston too, because he was the one who elbowed Marchand last year in the playoffs. Again, got away with that. No penalty call there. No penalty call against Stolars. So I don't know. He must have a good deal with the refs or something.
He's in his rat. He's now on the all rat line. We love the all rat line though.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. You know who isn't a rat? Jerry Thornton. That guy's a fucking great guy. And he joined us yesterday. As we mentioned at the top of the episode, that's going to be at the end. So listen on through here. We got Big E's favorite segment of the week right now.
All right, guys. It's my favorite time of the week. It's the time that we talk about the things that, annoy us, the things that frustrate us, the things that we hate. Those are the things that make me go, yeah, oh, like, get out of here. Okay? Okay? Get out of here. And then we talk about, on the other flip side of that, the things that I love, the things that are stupendous, fantastic, wondrous, the things that make me get up and go, oh, yeah. Who's got a or an oh, yeah this week?
I think J-Matt should kick this one off.
Yeah, I got a bit of an oh yeah. So if your buddy who is pretty good at betting sends you a 10-page document on the Kentucky Derby about horses, and at the end of the 10-page document has a synopsis of who they think is going to win the Kentucky Derby, you go with that pick. You just go with it. So I did that. My buddy Jeff Cublin, great man, sent me a little Derby spreadsheet from someone he knows, and just went on a limb and picked Sovereignty and was having a North End dinner, which was great. Trattoria Panino, if you've never been there, highly recommend.
Amazing place.
Delicious. Great little tidbit is they have a really nice bar, but in their dining room they also have some TVs up in the top. So, had on the Kentucky Derby, was eating my pasta, looking over, saying, "Oh shit, just won 450. Holy shit." That's going straight to Vegas for Eric's bachelor party this weekend.
Love it.
There we go.
Nice little win. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. So big oh yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff Copeland with the details. Love it. Loyal listener, Jeff. Thank you, buddy.
Yes.
All right. Who's got the next?
I'll take it. We've got, it's kind of like a mixed one here. I don't know. I didn't know how to do this. So it's like a oh yeah, but a yeah oh.
So yo.
Because yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the Sox played the Minnesota Twins this past weekend. There's a kid on the team, Cody Clemens, who is Roger Clemens' son. He hit a 2-run home run on Saturday to put the Minnesota Twins ahead. Great moment for the Clemens family. They were there at the game in a box, and they were all going wild as they should. And the is that the Red Sox lost that game because of it. But just a cool moment to see whenever a young prospect kind of steps up in those moments.
Indeed. All
right.
It
was cool.
This is a and maybe why there was discussion that this guy fell from the #1 pick down to where he did to Bernie's Giants. Bernie, why the fuck does Abdul Carter think he can take whatever number he wants?
Listen, man.
Staley's number. Like what?
I like Abdul Carter based off of what I've seen, but I completely agree with you. I think if the number is retired, it stays retired. It's retired for a reason. Don't ask the player. Don't ask the family. Don't even ask the team. They retired it for a reason. I thought what LT said, go get your own number. I don't care if it's 99 or 00, and then go make that history, So I think that was perfect. But yeah, I agree with you guys on this one. And then going to Phil Simms after and then asking him. And Phil Simms actually said, yeah, sure, I'll give you number 11. You were at Penn State. But his family outvoted him and said, no, you're not going to give up number 11. Like, come on. I think if the number's retired, we saw this last year with Malik Neighbors. He called up Ray Flaherty, whose family approved him to granted him access or permission to wear, number 1 this past year and for the Giants. And that was cool. Ray Flaherty hasn't played since the early 1900s. Nobody alive remembers him. But at the same time, I think there needs to be a line drawn. And this goes in all of sports, not even just with the New York Giants. If you unretire a number, or if you retire a number, it should stay retired, in my opinion.
I mean, trust me, this is a huge issue for the Celtics because they're going to run out of numbers eventually.
The Yankees too. The Yankees have the same issue.
The Yankees have the same. It's an embarrassment of riches for those two franchises that just have had these great players that play for them.
Well, there's still plenty of numbers left for the time being, and I don't see our lifetime ever seeing that problem arise. And by then there'll be some way to finagle the numbers and do something where
they'll be in triple digits. Don't worry.
There'll be no repetitions. Yeah, like Squid Game.
16A.
Player 465.
Triangle 45.
You are now eliminated.
It's Morse code, yeah.
Green light. All right, this was a that turned into an did anybody catch that Pirates fan take a I mean that looked
tumble.
A tumble, and that was no short wall.
Stop going after foul balls or home runs, god damn it.
I mean, what's up with the Pirates?
I don't even
I know.
He wasn't.
Stay away from railings. How about that?
No. Just the Pirates in general, and that wall has had a lot of issues this year.
I'm gonna say be responsible.
Be respectful. Be respectful of your, Clemente as well.
That's what happens when you.
I mean, good.
That's terrible.
If you're gonna, have a few drinks,
don't sit on the fucking railing.
Yeah, don't go that close to the railing if you can't handle your booze. So
I mean, good news is
seen that before.
I'm very glad he is okay. I mean, the best.
I mean, he was in critical
100%.
condition, and now he's alert and awake. So good news is he's doing okay. But yeah, just kind of like people need to control themselves. I feel like as well.
Yeah. We don't want to see anyone die going to a sporting event. Like,
it's for us to have,
it's for people to have fun.
Never.
How about Reggie Miller? That son of a bitch, man.
He's turning into Doris Burke. He can go into the fucking penalty box with
honestly, it was Jalen Brunson's penis in his mouth all night because it seemed like it. Like it seemed like he was
even soft.
He was choking on it. He was choking on it.
Clutch?
Yeah,
tell us 5 more times, Reggie. Like honestly.
Yet last year, he wouldn't shut up about the Pacers, and screw the Knicks, and I hate the Knicks. Now he loves the Knicks.
Well, he's the Pacers' #1 fan.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, but like, can you not show bias, and can you not? I agree with you. What are we doing?
He shouldn't be allowed to call any Pacers games for the rest of his announcing career.
He's not.
Learn how to fucking commentate. How about that?
Yeah, he looks like a pterodactyl.
Oh, could you imagine him and Doris Burke calling a game together? Oh my god,
it's unlistenable. You almost wish that you could sync up Grandy and Max to the TV.
I was gonna say you'd have to mute the TV,
but you
and
can't
then
because
the
radio is like a minute ahead of the fucking broadcast because the feed to the TV takes they're on delay.
What if you Bluetooth it from the app, or you can't even Bluetooth it from the app because they don't play it on the app because it's like
what? I'm going back to the old days where I'm going to get my recliner and I'm going to put on the radio and I'm going to sit there and listen.
I have an idea.
I like that.
Sirius XM.
Oh,
slight plug.
Bernie.
Slight plug.
It could be a real plug. We'll take the 2 to 4 a.m. shift at Sirius XM anytime you need.
Join me.
I'd be up late. Fine. We're there. You let us
join
know
Sirius XM.
I got one more.
Great
to round us out. We got Big Eastie's bachelor party this Thursday through Saturday in Las Vegas. Can't wait. Pumped. Weather's looking fantastic. Hopefully win some money. Gonna have a great time, Big Easty.
We got a few things planned. We're going to go to the Sphere on Friday. We're going to go see Dead and Co. So that should be a surreal experience. And then
Unreal.
the NBA schedule gods did bless us on
Oh
Saturday with a
God, hell yeah.
3:30 Eastern game in the afternoon in New York City. Hopefully it's beautiful in New York. It's going to be beautiful in Las Vegas, and it's going to be 12:30 in Las Vegas. So
Hell yeah.
we are going to go find a pool somewhere fun to watch the game and have ourselves a good time.
Maybe make
Go
a
to
few
Circa.
bets there, cash them out. Hopefully.
Hit the Circa. Although all the pools are amazing. You guys have an unbelievable time. Gabe, go.
No, sorry. I was just gonna give an to Krasner. It's his birthday this weekend as well.
Oh hell yeah!
Hey.
Hell yeah!
Happy
There you go,
birthday,
yeah.
bro.
Thank you, boys.
Yo, happy
Thank you,
birthday.
boys. Thank you, boys.
Happy
Need a
birthday.
belated-
Not
You're
getting
no,
old
here,
you're
yet.
no
listen.
older than 21.
We'll need a belated Kaku visit for sure
Oh,
to celebrate.
Not have to tell me twice.
I
All
will
right.
follow you. I will follow you into war at the Kaku anytime, General Sam.
My general.
Hold on. The
General,
best
my
is-
general.
I think the best part about the Kaku is Bernie has no fucking clue what the Kaku is.
Yeah.
I have
He's
no
just
idea.
sitting
Wait,
here.
Bernie, you
It's a
gotta
national
come for business
thing.
trip.
You got-
Smiling and waving.
Don't
Korean
even tell
barbecue.
him. Let's not
Just-
even
oh,
tell
no.
him. Let's just
Just
let the
don't-
Kaku be a
Just don't
this
eat for
mystical
like
thing.
2 days.
Yeah. If you
Don't eat for 2 days.
If the
and you'll be good.
Patriots and the Giants thing actually it becomes a reality and we can make it work.
Oh.
The Kaku will be in play that weekend for sure.
All right.
Oh,
Um,
oh my
Definitely.
God. We might not be able to move the next day, but the Kaku will be in
That's
play.
Will R2S2 be making an appearance as
Always.
well?
At the
I don't
college,
know.
probably
Maybe.
not. But
I
you
don't
never
know.
know. R2S2.
Ed could get generous and say, "Oh yeah, here's $1,400. Go buy yourself a computer." But
I mean,
probably not.
R2S2 could be used at the Kaku. We could use him to calculate all the different things we're ordering because
Count the plates.
count the plates.
This thing's getting me through
Count the
nursing school.
plates.
So
Hook it up to the heat somehow. Make sure it's on.
Yeah, make sure when they turn it down, we turn it
Don't
back
turn
up.
it down.
We always
believe
turn
me,
it
they
back
try
up.
this. They're sneaky about it too. They'll walk by and
Yeah.
they'll just do it without you trying to. No, I saw you.
Fire
Nope,
Marshal
right
J
back
Mac
up.
was on it. He
Actually,
was on
turn
Tony,
it
can you
up.
come over here. We need another grill pan.
He knows how to
please.
turn it up, baby.
Turn it up.
He getting turned down. He's turning it up.
Yeah, we're
We
always
turn it up this weekend.
One thing we're going to turn out. Bernie, anything in the bodega? Any Bernie's bodega takes here today? We'll hit the bodega
we
real
kind of
quick.
touched on it all. I mean, we started off with some Knicks Celtics. That was definitely I'd say the number one storyline. I wanted to touch on the Islanders, and we definitely hit on that as well as the Rangers hiring Mike Sullivan, who parted ways with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So. Other than that, I mean, the Yankees can't win a game, and the weather still sucks. The bullpen has just been atrocious, and the Mets, on the other hand, they continue to win, but they're starting to cool down a little bit. They're starting to slow down a little bit. So we'll see. I mean, we talked about baseball, we talked about the Red Sox, and it's still a long season, still just May. So I think both these teams have a lot to figure out over the next couple weeks and couple months, leading up to the summertime, and hopefully again the weather just gets better. But other than that, no, we kind of touched on everything.
Good stuff. All right, fellas. Well, it's been a great episode. As we talked about, Jerry Thornton coming up right now. Don't tune out. We're gonna peace out here, fellas, with the Pike, and Jerry Thornton will be right after that. So Sox continue with 3 games here at home versus the Rangers, and then 3 on the road versus Kansas City, and Celtics Wednesday. Tomorrow night, the night that this podcast is released, with a 7:30 tip, national TV ABC game, 3:30 afternoon game on Saturday, and then we're in the 7:30 slot next Monday. And when we will record our next episode will be probably after Game 4 to be able to get in everything there. So we're gonna figure that out right now, fellas. Great to see you. Great episode as always. Jerry Thornton, right now. Peace, fellas.
Peace.
Later.
Heyo, and welcome back to the Boston Sports Brothers podcast. We have a 2-part episode today. First, right now, we got Jerry Thornton of Barstool Sports with us, as well as a fully loaded squad. Gentlemen, how's everyone doing on this Cinco de Mayo?
Good
Doing
evening.
lovely.
Good evening.
Yo.
Fantastic.
Happy Mondays.
Hola.
Hola, amigos.
Cinco de Mayo.
What did Jerry Remy used to say at the Buenos noches,
Buenos noches,
amigos.
amigos.
Rest
Yep.
in peace, Jerry Remy, one of the
Yes.
greatest of all time. All right, Jerry Thornton is with us, though, tonight from Barstool Sports, author of Darkness to Dynasty and 6 Rings. You go get that in your local bookstore, order it online. Great books. If you haven't read them, get in there. Great summer reading ahead at the beach or wherever you may be. And then, Jerry, also want to check in with you on the comedy tour. Any places coming up where we can check you out? And then after that, we'll talk Patriots and everything we got on the docket.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me on, fellas. Happy Cinco de Mayo and a belated happy Star Wars Day to all my fellow nerds out there, to those of you who observe. And yeah, so I've got, let's see, Saturday, May 10th, I'm going to be at Kwan's in Hanover. It's a nice venue there. Later on in the summer, I'm going to be down in Skippy's Pier 1, which is down in the Cape, and then Volcano Vineyards up in New Hampshire. So it's a whole New England tour, as I don't mind with summer coming, dialing it back a little bit, having some open weekends, getting out on the golf course and being able to, be safely, 4 cans deep into a rack of IPAs by the time the Red Sox game is over with. But I appreciate you bros having me on here. It's always great hanging out with you.
Excellent. We have a great conversation on deck tonight. Be sure to check out Jerry's social media. Google Jerry Thornton Comedy, and you'll find all his tours and where you're going and how to get tickets there. But Jerry, Patriots, lots going on right now. J-Matt, let's kick it off. I'm going to hand it over to you to get the conversation started.
Jerry, so let's talk about the most recent Patriots news. That was, I guess, the biggest news was the draft. What was your take on the draft? I want your overall grade, and then do you think the Patriots, did they do what you wanted them to do? Did you expect more trades? What was your overall take?
Yeah, first of all, the fact that this offseason, they have been crushing it. It's been nothing but like gap line drive doubles and some home runs mixed in. And I think it all began, if you look back at the trade that they made of Matt Judon, where it was a seller's market for them. I'm sorry, a buyer's market. Like they any team that wanted it could have him because they knew the Patriots had no choice but to give him away. And the fact that they got a third, which they then turned into later picks. They ended up getting the best kicker in the draft, then another trade, got them the first long snapper off the board, and then they took a flyer on a defensive back later on. But okay, the point I'm making is that from the beginning of the draft to the end, they did the thing that they should have done. And fellas, I've got a card in my wallet that I am an organ donor, but only if Bill Belichick needs it. I take a backseat to no man when it comes to my respect and admiration for him, but he took so many reaches and so many swings and misses and so many times where he was just being too clever. I mean, let's not forget the time that he drafted Cole Strange and got laughed at by Sean McVay. I was with some Patriots fans once for round 2. It was like 24 of us in a bar, like a party for the second round of the draft. And they drafted Tavon Wilson. And there wasn't a person among us who knew who he was, who could find him in the magazines that they brought, could find him a scouting report on him. And then when they took, remember Rohrwasser, the kicker that never made the roster, the guy that had tattoos and stuff? He was the first guy drafted that ESPN didn't have a highlight package for. They were all just like palms up, shrugged shoulders. I don't know. Whereas with this, it was just they made a move that was either about where you expected a guy to be taken, or in a few cases, certainly Travion Henderson, well after he was supposed to come off the board. I mean, there are people that had him going like 18th, and they got him at 38. So they did it short of getting a developmental tight end, which I would have liked to have seen. I just think they crushed it. Am I on an island on this?
No. I think we all agree that they've addressed needs, and they played the board. They played the strength of the board and what they needed, and we can all agree that they killed the draft, and they've been killing all off season, like you said. They've just been plug-in needs, and I think they're going to put a team on the field next year that will actually be respectable and will play some good football. Let's hope that's the case.
Hey, the belt's off. Like we're very much loving what they've done in the postseason.
I don't know what comes up after that.
Oh God.
No, but I do think as far as the draft goes, where did they take anyone that we can sit here and be like, well, that was a bad pick, right? Like, sure, did they take some, like Will Campbell? I think a lot of people here are not upset with the pick. I don't think he's a guy that's going to wow you, but I think outside of that pick, which I think is a necessary pick, we need help on the line, bad. Everything else looked great. Trayvon Henderson, explosive playmaker. One of the best blitz pickups in college.
Right.
He's going to be Drake May's best friend. All right, so we got him. Kyle Williams, that dude can play inside, outside. Like, what can't he do? And then to get the best center in the draft and to continue to trade down from that Judon pick and stockpile more assets and then still land the player that you wanted to get at that pick. I mean, bravo to Vrabel, Elliott Wolf, the whole brain trust. I think they did an amazing job.
Yeah, and I've got a little PTSD because they took a third-round wide receiver. Just because, we've been burned so many times before, I don't think I'm ready to love again. And then Mike Reese comes out with this report that one of the reasons that they selected him was they had a bowl, the Holiday Bowl that Washington State was in, and their coach took another job. He couldn't coach in or whatever. 22 players chose not to play in this game. He did. He just insisted, I'm gonna see this thing through. and he caught 10 passes for 172 yards and a touchdown. And then he's at the Senior Bowl and he gives an interview. And they say, who do you model yourself after? And he says, Stephon Diggs. Like,
That'll do.
Okay. And now they're teammates and he's going to get to learn under him. I'll offer this caveat and throw it back to you guys. A receiver was taken right after him. His name is Tesla too, which I found was really odd, but it's spelling, there's 2 S's in there, whatever. I'm afraid that Williams is going to amount to nothing. And then this Tesla guy is going to be rookie of the year and an all pro, because that's just sort of been the pattern, right? We get N'Keal Harry, AJ Brown lights it up. The guy taken after Tyquan Thornton lights up. So again, that's just my own foibles. I look at Williams and I go, he's a terrific fit. He can do it all. He runs that slot fade so well. And Drake May throws that as well as anybody I've ever seen in my life. So I think that's a hookup that's going to be doing things.
Jerry, maybe I'm an internal optimist, but I still have hope for Jalen Polk. I think that was the coaching good last year. Was he getting the right type of coaching to make that jump from college to the pros? I don't think so. So, let's see what he does this year with an actual coach. But I still think that kid could be good. So you have him who's got potential, and Kyle Williams, maybe, and Stephon Diggs. Maybe this wide receiver room is better.
Dramatic decisions with the wide receivers, because they have like 10 on the roster and they're only going to carry 5 or 6. So
some of them got to go anyways.
It's astonishing just how unproductive Polk was. But I've heard from people that they're very optimistic about him, that he had a lot of stuff thrown at him. They didn't give him like one thing and say, master this and get good at this other thing. They were constantly moving him in, out into the slot or whatever. And I dug up an old tweet. It's not even a tweet. It was a whole Barstool post not long after they drafted him, where I kind of deduced that he wasn't a pick for 2024 as much as he was a pick for 2025 and beyond. So, they thought he'd be more plug and play. I think he's more of a developmental guy. Let's wait and see. But you're right to be optimistic. Javon Baker, on the other hand, I don't think that light switch is coming on for him, and he's probably going to be a cut. I think Kendrick Bourne, they're going to determine he's peaked, as good as he's been there. Overall, their best receiver for the past 4 years, but that's being the world's tallest hobbit. Like, who do you compare him to? It's been downhill since that 800-yard season he had when he first came here. And I love the guy, but, if we can move on from David Andrews and Joe Cardona and all these, like, respected guys with rings, well, we can say goodbye to Kendrick Bourne in order to make room for Williams and some of the other guys that they've signed.
And let's just call it what it is. We want someone that's going to, build a rapport with Drake May, and, whether that's, probably most likely going to be a younger guy that we have a little bit more control over than someone that's, here for a year or here for a couple of years and then hitting free agency. So I would much rather see that than, just having that talent on the paper.
For sure. Gabe,
yeah.
Any draft thoughts, or you want to talk?
I want to move on to our boy Belichick, because he had quite the fucking week. He's been all over the news. So I think we got to chat about that a little bit. Jerry, that whole Belichick Jordan saga right now. I think at first it was kind of cute. Oh, look, like Belichick with a younger girl, and this is kind of fun, and yeah. But after that CBS interview with Jordan, like kind of interrupting, storming out. There's reports of her storming out and wanting Belichick to follow her like a little dog. I don't know. It's just like it's such a weird situation. It's gotten much weirder. There's just all these crazy reports out now. What are your thoughts on what's going on there?
Yeah, when you say it's all over the news, you can say that quite literally, because I just found a long write-up about this in the Sunday Times of London, where they don't even know what shape of football is. They think it's round. They're so backwards. They measure things in metric, but they know who Bill Belichick is, because he's the guy who's dating the woman who's 50 years younger than him. And look, you guys know me. You know that I'm a romantic at heart, and I'm in love with their love story. I mean, it's right out of a rom-com. I mean, they even had a meet cute on the plane, like where he sees her book, and it's deductive logic, and hey, I'm interested in philosophy, and she's like, really, I love special teams, and let's talk about the greatest punchers in the world. I think it's lovely. I really, really do. But for her to have spoken up at that 60 minutes thing, and he has said that it was selectively edited, and they took 5 minutes out of a 35-minute interview. Which, okay, how about the fact, Bill, that you are the greatest there has ever been at taking the controversy out of a situation, right? Of just taking the air out of the room. I was there when Tim Tebow was in camp, day one, and there were no less than 24 TV trucks in the parking lot. And the first question was from a guy who introduced himself as like, "Hello, Bill. I'm Joe Forehead from New Hampshire. I'm a hard news guy, but I'm here to ask you about Tim Tebow." And he just went, "Yeah, like everyone else, he's here to help the team." And he said that like 3 times. The next day, 1 truck in the parking lot. So he didn't need her chiming in from the wings. Like, what a terrible look that was to say, "We're not talking about this." Like, sister, just let him handle it. And I get it. You know, if you're lucky enough to have a woman in your life who cares about you, and I fortunately am, they want to protect you, but it's a terrible look. Like, you don't want to be protected. That's my job. So I think she was coming from a place of love. And that's how us Bridgewater State grads do it, you know?
I'm just waiting for the Hallmark movie now. I'm very excited for the Meet Cute.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be, they're so opposite for each other. They can't possibly work, but yet somehow it does.
Who plays Belichick in the movie? I mean,
oh, it's a good question.
Think on that. Who plays her in the movie? Those are 2 great questions. Although the guy who played Belichick in that Aaron Hernandez awful documentary, that was one of the worst actors that I've ever seen. That whole show was terrible acting, but
just absolutely brutal. I'm glad you watched it, so the rest of us don't have to.
I only really saw the clips. I really didn't. It's what's it called? Cliff Notes or whatever that was called. Spark Notes. I can't remember. Yeah. It's been a long time.
Well, I was going to say Belichick really quick. Belichick's, I think it's daughter-in-law, Jessie or something like that.
Steve's wife.
Jen, yeah, chimed in on Twitter to someone and said something along of the lines of, "Oh, a publicist doesn't get up and storm off in the middle of an interview." And I thought that was really interesting. And I was just like, oh, there's definitely a lot more behind the scenes.
Yeah. Oh, and then let's add to it the reports that, Hard Knocks was interested until she got involved, and then they were not. There's the fact that she has a $9 million real estate portfolio with her mortgages paid off in full. Again, 24 years old. When I graduated from Bridgewater, I was in debt. I was living with my mom, and I was working in a kitchen. She's a real estate mogul, and apparently she's acquired all this just since she was dating him, which is amazing. Now you add in the added context that her mom runs a sex shop museum in Provincetown. I mean, it's just, this story was like a slow drip for a while there, and now it's just a daily fire hose. Like, you just cannot keep up with it.
And you wonder how they met. I mean,
maybe Bill made a trip to Provincetown. Who knows?
The sex shop.
There's a lot of avenues that it could have happened. A lot of speculation. And Bernie had some last week. I said this last week. I think the craziest part was that this is the guy who preached no distractions, no nonsense, keep this stuff, that's off the field, away from the team and influencing the news cycle. And now he is just at the forefront of it. And he's just sitting there with his hands on his, on his ass, just like letting her make all the calls. It's truly unbelievable from that standpoint that the guy who just squashed everything, as you said earlier with the Tim Tebow thing, Jerry, is now like inviting this fucking circus to his life. That's the shocking part to me.
At the end of the day, I still think he's going to win a lot of games in North Carolina. So I don't think this is going to do anything that's going to impact the product on the field. I think it's going to, make us all continue to talk about Belichick and Jordan and, what's going on there. But I still think that he's a great coach and he's going to do well in college. And, maybe he ends up back in the NFL at some point. So I'm never going to bet against Bill Belichick.
And it just shows this to all you young guys out there. You have a future ahead of you. Find the right woman, stick with her, because there's a lot of power in a younger, attractive woman. Like, we've all seen the video of the guy doing the crazy hot matrix, and here's the danger zone. And it will make a guy throw everything away. Remember the old coot that Anna Nicole Smith was dating? And when I say old, he was like 92.
Oh, he was on
his deathbed.
Yeah, he was
like the crypt keeper.
Dead with that one picture. Yeah.
And Joe Rogan did a stand-up bit about that. Like, his family is like crying around him. Oh, he's going off to his last reward. He looks over at her and he just goes, "Honey, get over here and put this in your mouth. I'll give you everything I own." I cleaned it up for your audience.
It all goes here. You can say whatever you want in terms of that.
I just didn't want to be the first one to break the swear barrier. But yeah, there's a lot of power in certain parts of the female anatomy, and just be careful out there, fellas. That's all I'm saying. And there's something about, and I'm not saying she's crazy. Maybe she's the sanest woman in the world if you get to know her. But the crazy ones have a certain appeal all their own. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it, but it will make
Oh,
most
I think we know
successful
what
guy
it
in the
is.
world. Yeah.
Almost like certain someone in the Dedham area that's in the courthouse, named Karen Reed, right?
There you
Got the little crazy good looking looks there.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes out with in her. And I do think that she's innocent, but there's a lot of crazy there too. And John O'Keefe, by all accounts, was a really nice human being, and had an unblemished record as a police officer and stuff. But you find someone who's a little bit nuts and pretty attractive, and that's a deadly formula for any guy.
I'm talking more nuts in the sheets there, Jerry. Not
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, think she's a little crazy there, but
Definitely. Where there's been some recounting of there may be some
We
recounting
have
of
some experience with that. Yeah.
some folks that in our own personal lives that we've encountered along the way, Jerry. So, but we've had enough talk about the females and the situation. We gotta stay on track. We gotta get back to ball. Biggie,
Let's
take
bring
us
it back. Yeah, so Jerry, I also just want to reset. The last time we talked to you, we were having the after sex flow after the Cincinnati Bengals game, and oh man, things got bad for a while there. But then I think things are back on the upswing. We got Vrabel back in, some great offseason additions, a good draft. I wanna get your thoughts. Where do you think the Patriots stand for the upcoming 2025 season? Do you think that they're a playoff team? Do you think that they're on the precipice, or do you think they're still a few pieces away?
Well, I can say this, that from the moment Gerard Mayo performed the ultimate screw up by winning the game that nobody wanted to win, that it's been nothing but a winning streak. I mean, if you gave me, time to come up with a punch list of all the things I wanted to see happen immediately following that game, it would have been fire Gerard Mayo. Who did I want to have hired? Mike Vrabel. Out of all the candidates, I know a lot of people in love with Ben Johnson. No, I didn't want another trainee who has only been a coordinator, because you just don't know. Way too much of a crapshoot there. Who does he hire as an offensive coordinator? Josh McDaniels, and which I was all in favor of. And while I wanted to scrap his system once and for all, just because I saw how so many people struggled under it, I look at Mac Jones when he had McDaniels and what happened after. The Patriots in 2021 were 8th in the league in points. You can say, well, they had a good defense, this and that. Okay, fine. They were 8th in the league in points. And since then, they've been at the near or at the bottom of the league. So it's just been one like, okay, I wanted this. Okay, I wanted that after another. What that translates to in terms of wins, look, there's no way they're a 4-win team. I don't think it's at all unreasonable to say they'll double their win total and then above. It's a matter of, are they going to get rid of that weird like DNA that they had somewhere in their genome? They developed this ability to take a winnable game and kick it away, right? It became the opposite of what they did in their peak. And that was happening on Belichick's watch. I mean, like just error repeaters and couldn't hold on to the ball and red zone fumbles and drives that went nowhere. I love Ramondre Stevenson, but he led the league in fumbles. The offensive line that couldn't get out of their own way and stop making false start penalties. And part of that's talent, but part of it is they just weren't coached and they weren't led right. And I think that that's what Vrabel has put his focus on. It's these hardworking, high character guys who love football. I wrote about this today, the report that from Mike Reese, that Milton Williams has been at every day of the voluntary offseason program. Highest paid player in the team. He could blow that off. No one would do anything about it. He's a Super Bowl champion. Like he has a grace period. Nope, he's working. That Christian Barmore, every day he's there, even coming off the blood clots or whatever. And Will Campbell's old offensive line coach at LSU is saying, "Oh, this guy, he's a half an hour early for the meetings and he's an hour early for the weight sessions and whatever. And he's going to be a leader from the minute he gets in there." So I think they've checked every box. And I like to think they'll be in the hunt for a playoff spot. What that means, I don't know, that they won't be eliminated before Thanksgiving like they have been like for years now.
It sounds like they're going through a culture shift based on what you just said about people coming in early, staying late. So that's what we all talked about last year, was seeing culture.
Yeah, and Vrabel didn't specifically say it that way, but I think we could all imply that that's what he was talking about. This team was soft, that it used to be that they would maintain, they would stay close, they would be in a game, and then their opponents would trip all over themselves and make some horrible mistake that would cost them the game. And then they've become that team. Like teams circle them on the calendar now, going, okay, we get to play them. This is going to be great. This will be a walkover. We're going to, it's basically a bye week.
Someone called it a get right week.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. With the rare exception like that fluke against Cincinnati, which, even Mayo afterwards said we can't sustain winning the way we did. And boy, they went out and they proved it. I don't mean to put it on Mayo necessarily. Do I think he's a great coach? No. I think he was constantly saying things that he had to backtrack on and regret it or whatever. I think he was put in an impossible situation in so many ways. You remember who their starting left tackle was? Like they spent all summer setting up their roster like picking your pitching rotation for opening day. Their opening day starter played 14 snaps and they never saw him again.
Set him out. Peace. Deuces.
He left, right?
Chucks Okorafor.
Yep.
He was the guy that they
yeah.
settled on for a left tackle. And people like belly aching about the length of Will Campbell's
arms.
Yeah, we're talking three aces of an inch.
Hey, he's 21. He can still stretch those arms out.
He can we were talking about that, Jerry. We were gonna grab horses, and instead of drawing quartering, just one arm, and just kind of every day go for about half an hour or so.
Does anyone remember a toy called Stretch Armstrong?
Oh yeah, of course. We just put that in our clip last week about.
Did you really?
Campbell.
Oh
yeah.
I included it in a blog today. I'm going. No one will get this reference. It's the stupidest toy of all time. But
I love that toy back in the day.
A rubber guy that you could just stretch him all out. Well, okay. Would you rather have that guy with freakishly long arms with a so-so attitude? And they've had some linemen through here who didn't really seem like they had a casual relationship with hard work. Let's just say, or a guy like him who's a beast who kicked ass in the SEC, who worst case scenario moves inside and now you have an elite guard, which they also need. That's the worst case scenario. Whereas if they got like one, Ted McMillan or whatever, these people that, wanted a wide receiver, if you fail there, you end up with nothing. Okay, at least with this guy, you give him a chance to prove that he can do at this level that he did in the SEC, which I think he will. And worst case scenario, you've got a player still for the next 10 years. You've got your Stephen Neal or your Logan Mankins.
Yeah, I think you just mentioned a wide receiver who I think we're all universally happy that they didn't pick in the draft, and we're excited about Kyle Williams, as we talked about. But Kraz, there's a certain wide receiver who had something pretty cool happen today, is there not?
Oh yeah, so our fellow tribesman, Mr. Edelman, was selected to the Patriots Hall of Fame. Really known for that famous catch in the 28-3 comeback versus Atlanta. Jerry, what do you
and the throw?
Of course the throw, but that catch was just that sticks out in my mind. Jerry, what are your takes on Julian getting in and getting his flowers, and any cool stories or little tidbits that you can give us?
Well, I will start off with this. You haven't seen that catch until you watched it in an empty movie theater because they showed it in 80 for Brady, like 30-foot high. And I went into one to really hate that movie. Like, what is this vanity project? These 4 old bags are in love with Brady. Like, why does he need to do this? It was strangely compelling. I liked it in spite of myself. And I think it was just because I rewatched that game on the giant screen. It was incredible. Here's the thing, and I was on record as saying this when they announced the 3 nominees, and this was back on April 10th. To me, this was the biggest no-brainer of all time, but not for Edelman. It was Adam Vinatieri. Look, Logan Mankins, second best lineman they've ever had on the team, and second only to the best lineman of all time, who's John Hanna. Edelman, I think he belongs in Canton, but you get Adam Vinatieri on your ballot, he's your guy. I mean, like, he's the best ever at his position, but he wasn't good enough to get into the team Hall of Fame. That's amazing to me. And I think it's probably, I chalk it up to recency bias. If you were in high school when Vinatieri had his first game-winning, Super Bowl-winning kick, and he's the only guy in the world that's ever had not 1, but also 2. Okay, if that was you, that was 25 years ago. Now you're like in your 40s, and you probably spent like the last week at Disney with your kids, sucking your gut in at the hotel pool, like in Caddyshack when Lacey Underalls walks by. So you weren't getting online to vote for your favorite Patriot in the Hall of Fame. That's a young man's game. And I think that's what kicked in. I think, the people who are more engaged in this kind of thing, remember that catch. Remember the Super Bowl MVP. Remember that when he retired, he was only the second guy with 100 postseason catches in his career. He and Jerry Rice have both been passed now by Travis Kelce, who's not going to end anytime soon. But yeah, I think Edelman's place in football of the 2010s will never be taken away. Like that's what I love about about Canton as opposed to Cooperstown. That's what you get in on. what you did, the big moments, your effect on the game, not just the back of your baseball card. And, you were around for a million years, so you struck out 3,000 guys, so you get in. I love that about it. I just would have elected him next year.
Yeah, makes sense. Any takes on Edelman, fellas, or the Hall of Fame, or really anything we touch on with Jerry here?
Jerry, I that also really grinds my gears. Vinatieri not being in the Patriots Hall of Fame. No shade to Julian Edelman. Love Julian Edelman. Thinks he deserves to be there. But I think Tony Maserati was saying on the radio, like, he just he should just be a shoo-in to the Patriots Hall of Fame. Like, he just shouldn't even have to be voted in. Like, he was part of so many huge moments in Patriots history that it's like it just blows my mind that he's not in there. And I understand the controversy with him going to the Colts and everything of that nature, but like it's just dumb. I hate it.
Why do we let the fans vote? Why do we have to have the fans that make the decision instead of having it be, maybe it's the media or the team that makes the decision? I love the fact that the team put Parcells in the Hall of Fame this year. That dude deserves to be in there for what he did to change the course of this team in the 90s. I mean, I wasn't really, around before that. I was a young kid, but the team, for all intents and purposes, was a laughing stock, right, Jerry? Like, the team was terrible.
Yeah,
Darkness to dynasty, baby.
I was on the record as saying I don't think Parcells gets in. I don't think he necessarily deserves it. And I think the reason he did get in is I think Mr. Kraft just wanted to bury the hatchet. Like, they looked ahead and said, he's not going to get voted in because there's so many good candidates in the pipeline. So I think it's just, they had bad blood. It ended terribly between them and whatever. And Parcells is not getting any younger. And I think it was just like an olive branch. I think it was more of a nice gesture, because if you're going to say, well, he got them to the Super Bowl, great. So did Ray Berry. He's not in. Had a better winning percentage, won more postseason games. In the middle of Parcells' run here, he coughed up a 5-11 season, which by his own admission, not my words, his, that he was just kind of fat and mentally checked out. And he just said, this sucks. So he got back in shape and he got focused. But they drafted Terry Glenn and he was out the door.
And she was great, Terry Glenn. She was awesome. But I have a theory on this one too, real quick. I think because Mr. Kraft is having a hard time getting into Canton, he maybe threw a little bit of a message out there, being like, "Hey, look, I can bury the hatchet. Maybe you guys can bury the hatchet too, because of all the stuff that he's perceived by the other owners to be favorited and to have all these things that go his way with all these Spygate and Deflategate and all that stuff." So I wonder if there was a little backdoor channeling with getting Parcells in for Mr. Kraft to try and get into Canton himself.
It could be, but the bigger mystery is, why is he not getting into Canton? And why, when he doesn't get in, it's always leaked out that some other unworthy candidate got in. Like, they put in another owner from a team I swear I'd never heard of before. Like the Akron somethings. You know what I mean? Not even like the Chicago Cardinals, but just some franchise that folded after like 3 years, and he's getting in. So there's somebody in the league, Jerry Jones, who just is has an axe to grind and is just going to active lengths to see that one of the most deserving people to ever be up for nomination in the Hall of Fame doesn't get in. I don't get it. It makes no sense at all. He's settled.
He saved football. He saved football, right?
Exactly. Ask you while his wife was on her deathbed. Cue my brain immediately goes to Norm Macdonald saying, "I think everyone on a deathbed says I wish I'd never bought a deathbed." God rest his soul. But yeah, that's a weird one. And Parcells, for what it's worth, he had a 500 record. Yes, he did have a nice impact. I just don't know that it's hall worthy. Having said that, that's not a hill I'm going to die on. He gets in. His speech is going to be electric. I can't wait. I was kind of thinking he would get in with the kicker he had in his final season. That kicker's rookie season was Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah, that would have been a great combination. Parcells was our childhood and sort of growing up with the Patriots, but that shift started to happen. I think is Biggie and you said, Jerry, like it has more to do with the politics of it all. And Mr. Kraft, he said it in the announcement. We're both sort of in our mid 80s here and want to do this while we still have the opportunity to do it. So from that standpoint, it definitely makes sense. The Vinatieri thing is head scratching. Kickers in the NFL are so disrespected, yet if you look at points scored for a team, they're like one of the most important players on the team. So having a good kicker and one that doesn't fold in the biggest of moments is incredibly important.
Just make sure he doesn't go to the massage parlors either.
He's a free agent now. He can go do whatever the fuck he wants. So.
Yeah, I consider kickers, I think, are like closers in baseball. Like there's a vast middle ground there that are all basically indistinguishable from one another, and you can replace them, whatever. There's always going to be some bad ones, and then there's a few elites. And in this analogy, Vinatieri is Mariano Rivera, who, by the way, more people have walked on the moon than scored an earned run against Mariano Rivera in the postseason. Rattle that around in your brain. How about me just having
that record may stand forever, considering who the hell knows if we're ever going to be going back to the moon. So Mariano Rivera, Adam Vinatieri, the best of the best when it comes to being clutch in the biggest of moments. And in the biggest of moments, Jerry Thornton has joined us tonight to talk everything that we just did: Patriots offseason, the draft, all of Bill Belichick's romantic endeavors. We got into Edelman as well as the season outlook for next year. So great stuff, Jerry. Really appreciate you joining us. As we talked about before hopping on tonight, there's a big Celtics game going on with the Knicks and the Celtics, so we're going to shift our attention there. We're back tomorrow we're doing some like pardon my take time jumping, Jerry, where we're recording half now and half after the game and tomorrow. So we'll be back tomorrow recapping game 1 of the Celtics Knicks, previewing the rest of the series. Jerry, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
All right, thanks, Boston Sports Bros. The pleasure was all mine. It's been a while. Let's do it again real soon.
We'll definitely have you back during the season for some after a win sex glow. That's our goal.
Count on it.
All right.
Hopefully we'll have many of those.
Many more.
Go Celtics.
Go C's. Take care.
Go C's. Have a good night, Jerry.
See you, Jerry.
See you, Jerry.
Excellent. Good stuff, fellas. All right. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do the rest of the show. We can address
14-11.
14-11, but not bad. 7:21. Let's get into the C's, and we'll see you tomorrow, boys. Good to see you. We'll get the text chain rolling.
Oh, yeah. We'll see you guys on the text thread.
All right. Love you.
All right, see you guys.
Later, boys. Later.